Hi, here's the top thing that many couples fail to. Here's the top problem. Here's a top mistake. Here's a common mistake I see couples doing. They jump right into the battle. It starts off as a conversation and it goes sideways. My couples really don't understand how it went from a conversation or clarifying their point into a full out battle where there's tears and anger and frustrations. And the first thing is that these couples are lacking a pause button. They tend to, uh, here's the number one problem I see many couples making is that they're charging into battle instead of having a pause in their conflict conversations or the conversations that just start out being nice and fun and then take a U-turn and are suddenly a fight. And maybe it's happened to you. It's a great day, you're having fun, a simple comment or a question uh, ignites a fight. And you wonder, both of you maybe wonder, are we in the right place? Is this the right relationship? What did we do wrong? And it's a thing that's very common. It's a pattern that's very, very common in couples. And so let me take you back a little history. Back in the day when we had fight, flight, or freeze, the dinosaurs are coming after us or the saber-toothed tiger comes after us. And we needed to immediately jump to battle and stay focused. And our heart rate goes up, our, our focus narrows. And what's great in those moments, back in the caveman days, but it's not so good when you're standing in front of your partner or your spouse because they aren't the enemy. What happens to our brains is we become emotionally dysregulated and we're focusing on the target or the threat. It's great, it's a survival thing, but it doesn't work well in relationships because we stop thinking logically. That part of our brain is shut off, although we oftentimes feel very articulate, very clear, and able to communicate our our thoughts and our intentions. But we're really back in more of the um, activated part where we're just attacking and we're elevated. And so the couples that I see that come, we talk and we come to me and we say, we need to have a pause button and not in the heat, the moment where something storms off, but before this. So if you're in a relationship or marriage and you don't have a pause button in it, listen in. It's really, really simple. You guys pick a code word or a symbol, timeout, and that becomes the pause where whoever needs to call the flag on the play and needs a break recognizes that you're starting to escalate, starting to go down that path that you don't want to. Put the pause in place. And you stop. The conversation doesn't continue. People go, calm down, do what they need to do to get zen, to turn that fight part off of their brain into the logical part of their brain. And then you guys can come back and really have that conversation. And couples that do use that pause button are able to quickly regroup. It takes time, it takes practice. I get it. And you're in that moment and you want to get this conversation resolved. You don't have time to keep coming back. I completely understand that. But in the long run, by putting the pause down on the conversation and then coming back to it, you're going to have more success. You're going to get an understanding of where they were coming from. You were going to be able to be heard and explain yourself. Because in the heat of the moment, nobody's listening. They're they're in their heads and they're calculating the next response because that's how our brains are wired. So take your relationship today, your marriage, and put the pause button in place. And again, it can be whatever you want to call it. Um, it's yours, and the two of you then have a pause button. Decide how long you think you might need. You think you might need to go from that fight, flight, or freeze into a place where you can have that calm conversation. Everyone's different. And so respect their time that they need to regroup and ask that they respect your time that they need to regroup. Okay. And so put the pause, you got the time to regroup, and then you come back. One of the things I also like folks to do is when you're sitting back and you're going to restart that conversation, you might want to start with, what were you upset about? What were you fighting over? What did I not get right? And then you can also share with your partner, your spouse, your sweetheart, what you were upset about in that moment. It's really important to kind of get that timestamp back up on, back into the conversation. Now that you're calm, now that you guys have had a chance to reflect. So you know where their starting point is, and you know where your starting point is as well. And that really helps continue to make sure that you have a successful conversation and you get some resolution. And I know it probably feels like a lot of work, but in the beginning, it is. These are skills, these are interrupting old patterns, maybe things that you saw growing up, maybe things that have been the patterns and the routines and the way you guys fight or have conversations in this relationship. Maybe that's just become the way you guys are. And so to interrupt those and make changes that are better habits, better patterns, better ways of hearing them and being heard, it is going to feel maybe a little awkward, maybe a little cumbersome, but it's worth keeping going and doing this and using your pause, having the time to break, and then coming back with that pin drop of where did we drop this conversation? What was the thing that we were fighting about? And making sure you both are clear about that. Those are the things that are going to stack in your favor. And over time, it's going to be almost automatic. They're like, well, wait a minute. Do we really want to go here? No. Okay. Or, hey, time out. We're doing that thing again. And it can be done with humor and lightness instead of this intense energy. And couples that I see that use this successfully long term, it is like this. Like, hey, time out. I'm not ready. This isn't going where I want it to go. And they breathe. And they come back and they talk. And not all conversations are going to come and end with the two of you seeing eye to eye. That's a myth. The reality, in fact, Dr. John Gottman studied that. He said 69% of conversations, conflict conversations, are not going to be resolvable in that moment, and maybe not ever. And so again, we'll talk more about if that's one of those, I see some things differently than you. We can talk about how that looks and how that can show up in your marriage, in your relationship, and the two of you can put that aside. So join me in some like other conversations and other videos in the coming future. So, how are you feeling? A little overwhelmed? That's okay. It's new. It's not impossible. It's just new. It's a skill. It's a technique. It's a style. Yeah, let's call it a style, your relationship style. You're changing that up. So if you haven't already, like the video, subscribe to my channel. If you want more tools and tips, and it's in the comments below, or if you'd like to chat one-on-one with me, the link's there too as well. I'm Dr. Liz, and I love hearing from you and how you guys are changing up that style in your marriage or relationship.